All right, all right, all right. Hey, everybody, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me here on the Flipside for another live review. What? Who does live reviews? C'est moi. I do them. So, what is a live review? Well, first of all, it's live. I'm not going to do any editing on this. Second of all, you get to provide input to the review as I'm reviewing it. So that's the other cool thing about a live review. Now, of course, you have to be here live in order to do that. So if you're watching this later, not going to be so much of a thing. But I am going to reply to comments that are made in the chat as we're going, in the live chat as we're going. So I will be responding to questions that come up through that. I will be talking about those kinds of things. I'll be interacting with the crowd while they're here. So that's kind of what a live review is all about. As far as the nuts and bolts of the review, that's all still going to be here. I'm still going to do a little bit of an overview with the setup that I have right here. I'm still going to be giving my final thoughts, still going to be giving pros and cons as I would on a normal edited review. But we're just going to do everything live and kind of on the fly. Not really on the fly because I'm not making it all up, but it is not going to be edited. So I will do my best to put some timestamps into this after we get done. Now, after meaning after it stops, not immediately after. I do have some other things I have to get through to today, but maybe this evening or tomorrow I'll come back and put some timestamps in so that those of you that were not able to make the live streaming of this review will be able to jump around in that, with those different timestamps and just get to the content that you're specifically looking for, as far as maybe it's final thoughts, maybe it's just my rating, maybe it's just the pros and cons that I see in the game. Any one of those things. I'll provide timestamps for those things a little bit later on. But for right now, we're going to say hello to everybody here in the chat. Board Game Bree is here. How did I know Bree was going to be here? Little Miss Marketing Manager from Arcane Wonders. Hello, thank you for being here, Bree. Karen is here. Hello, peeps, for another new game. I am. Yes, well, hola, Sam, and everyone in the chat. Nuno is here. Good to see our Portuguese contingent showing up. Yes, indeed. Board Game Breeze saying hi to everybody. And Tom is here. Tom, hello. Good to see you. Thank you for being here too, buddy. All right, so as we're moving along, I do need to say, first of all, this is not my copy of the game. JT has allowed us to borrow his copy of the game, and he got the Maximus Sundrop edition through the Kickstarter. So I do need to say that right off the bat. This is a Kickstarter copy of this game. And what does that mean? Well, it means that there's going to be some pretty cool freaking things that you're going to see in just a few minutes. But unfortunately, unless you can get a hold of one of these Kickstarter copies, you probably won't be able to get a hold of it. However, I do want to make a very interesting point here, and that is, if you like the gameplay that I'm about to show you, Arcane Wonders is coming up with Foundations of Metropolis later on this year, and I do want to take some time going over the BGG product page for that. So let's go ahead and get over to that real quick, because I do want to, let me make sure I have it set up correctly. There we go. Well, let's talk about actually Foundations of Rome first before we go into all of that. Goodness gracious. All right, so as we're looking at Foundations of Rome here, it is an 8 out of 10 rating on the Geek. Hello. So that's pretty stinking cool. That's out of almost 3,500 ratings. 811 comments, so you can go check out all of those. We're not going to do that. It's designed by Emerson Matsuuchi. Really good. Artist is Stephen Gibson and Damian Mamoliti. Now, again, we're going to focus a lot on the miniatures, but The artwork in the game is also top-notch. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Of course, publisher is Arcane Wonders. And we'll take a look at some of these just so that we might be able to get some, more readily. This is the non-sun-dropped versions of the game, so there's that. So you can just kind of take a look at some of these pictures that are up here. Let's go ahead and do this so you get a better picture. Now, again, I don't own the rights to any of these pictures, so I apologize for that, but you get to take a look at it. Some of these have been painted, so that's pretty cool as well. So again, this is just showing you what you can expect to see if you were to have your own copy, what you could do to it. This is sun-drop copy pictures here as well. So that just gives you a good idea of some of the stuff that we're about to take a look at. So that's really freaking cool, right? So what kind of mechanisms are we talking about? Well, we're talking about a Dutch auction. I actually don't even know what a Dutch auction is, but I would imagine it has something to do with how you purchase the deeds. So you're going to be getting income. There's a market because that's where you pick up the deed cards. There's ownership as you own the different plots of land within the grid. There's a square grid. That's what the board is used on. And tile placement is the general idea of what we're talking about. But the miniatures themselves are the actual quote-unquote tiles of the game. So you are basically just trying to put together, you're trying to score the most points by the end of the game, but really this is the kind of game where you are really kind of more about the journey than the actual outcome. At least that's been my experience with the game. Yeah, you're trying to score the most points. Yeah, you're trying to win the game. Yeah. But the real fun comes in building up the city as you're putting out your things. And yeah, you're trying to jockey for positions so you can get your spots out there, your bigger buildings out there, and you're all that. I get it. You're playing a game. I get it. But the journey is what it's really fun about the game. It's not necessarily scoring the most points or winning. It's more about watching Rome rise, if that makes sense. So that's the cool thing about it. Now, before I got on all that tangent, I told you I was going to tell you about Foundations of Metropolis. So, see, I'm actually back on track now. You guys don't have to keep me on track so much anymore. So here we go. We are taking a look at that. Boom. All right, so as we're taking a look at this, Foundations of Metropolis, you can see right here, it is coming here this year. Now, it re-implements Foundations of Rome, upcoming releases. It's going to be in a Dice Tower Essential because Foundations of Rome is in the Dice Tower Essential. Now, the thing is that it's basically going to be the exact same game. And that actually is stated by the publisher right here. Gameplay is the same in the standalone as in Foundations of Rome, but with polyomino pieces and a brand new theme. All right, so you're generally going to be having all of the same gameplay things. So if you if you basically missed the boat, which, hey, guess what? I'm in that boat as well, and I missed it. So I'm in the I missed the boat. That's where I'm at. This is JT's copy. I have to give this back to him at some point in time, which, sad face. But if you missed the boat for Foundations of Rome, you will probably at some point, I would imagine maybe, still be able to get your hands on a copy of this, but you're going to have to probably buy it secondhand. And I honestly cannot imagine anybody willfully getting rid of this game if they own it. Now, that's a foreshadow, but bear with me. If you missed the boat on Foundations of Rome, which generally speaking, if you don't have your own copy by now, you probably have, you're relegated to probably getting gouged extremely difficultly in the secondary market. But if you're not going to do that, which I don't blame you if you don't, because people tend to charge much more money than they should. Anyway, you will be able to get this game, just not this version of the game, later on this year when Foundations of Metropolis is released. So there's hope that you'll be able to get into this gameplay. All right, so now with all that being said, let's talk about the gameplay, shall we? And let's get down to the table. So as we're looking at Foundations of Rome here, I have a 3-player game set up for you, and this board is double-sided. This side of the board has room for 2 players and 3 players. The blue letters here, the blue column and the blue row down there, those are what you use for 3 players. So you can use this one for 3 or 4 players. I believe it's also used in the solo challenge, the Garden of Ceres. And if you use that one, there's also some other pieces that go out here on the side of the board, but we're not going to talk about that. I don't think JT has that in the game. But this is how it's set up. Everybody is dealt 6 deed cards that come in the beginning. And as you can see, the deed cards are split up as in different colors, like, and they match. So 2 or more players, all of these guys are used. 3 or more players, all of these guys are used that have the blue letters and numbers on them. So that's how you get it. Everybody gets 6 to start the game with, and that's what seeds the board here for each of the different players. So I picked green, blue, because that's my favorite color. That's Jesse's favorite color. And I picked red because that's what Dante played last time. JT also likes red. So there you have it. Needless information. I know. I'm sorry. Anyway, on your turn, what you're basically going to be able to do is you will be able to, if you want to, buy a deed or build or upgrade one of your buildings, or you can take income. Now, you can't do all 3. You can only do 1 or. You can only do 1 action, and these are your 3 choices. That's all you can do on your turn, all right? Now, so for example, what I could do here on my first turn, since I'm the first player, I have this handy-dandy first player token. On my first turn, I could build up one of my buildings. Now, what you have to do, though, is you have to build it on one of the plots of land that you own. So if I wanted to, I could, get one of my banks going here. This is actually a bakery. I could put my bakery right here if I wanted to, and that's building building one of your buildings. It doesn't cost anything extra because you already own the plot of land. You just put one of your buildings out. Now, what does that do? Well, the different buildings do different things. For example, this bakery here is going to give me 1 extra coin whenever I take income. When I take income, I get $5 plus the income from all the buildings that I have out there on the board. The cool thing about this is that, yeah, it's on the building out here, but rather than having to search the entire grid to look for all of these things, you only have to look on your playmat here, and your playmat tells you all the buildings that are out there, and it tells you all the money that you're going to be getting from those buildings. You just have to add them up right here. You don't have to search out here on the board. So that's pretty cool. But maybe I don't want to build one of my real small buildings right off the bat. Maybe I want to buy another deed that's next to my thing. So if I look out here and I see something that's next to mine, for example, this B3 right here is right next to one of my other plots of land that I own. So that would allow me to build a larger building later. I might want to build that. I might want to buy that. So I take my 3 gold, because that's what's denoted right here, or silver rather, sorry. And I take one of my little markers and put it out there on the board. Now, the important thing to note here is that in order to buy a deed, you do have to have deed markers available to you. And right now, since it's at the very beginning of the game, 6 of my 8 markers are already on the board. I just placed a 7th. I only have 1 marker left. So I could only purchase 1 more deed before I have to generate some more income, because I'm low on funds, and I'm out of deed markers. So bear that in mind. So my first turn, I purchased a deed. All of these deeds will slide down like so, and another one comes out here just like that. We already talked about building a building. You have to build it on the plots of land that you have. We already talked about buying a deed, taking income. Well, what does that do? Well, let's say on my next turn, I decide to put out, let's say I decide to put out one of my big banks, okay? So I've done that, and now I have a couple more deed markers to do. But now, on my next turn, I'm going to take an income, so I get $5, as I said earlier, to start with. So that's 3, 4, 5. But I also get whatever this is. That gives me one more. So you get 5 plus whatever your buildings give you, and that's what taking income means for you. All right. So those are the 3 actions that you can do on your turn. All right. Now, what's the actual structure of the game? Well, the game is structured into 3 eras: era 1, 2, and 3. And when all of these deed cards have been purchased, so basically when this is gone and all of these are gone, that triggers the end of era 1, and you actually go through some scoring. You first score your commercial buildings. So you'll gain income equal to the values on all of your commercial buildings. And your commercial buildings are basically the ones that give you money, like the foundry here, the artisan forum, the L-shaped artisan forum, the pottery studio, which is already out here. Anything that gives you money is called your commercial buildings. You also have potteries down here and bakeries and all that other kind of stuff. So that's what your commercial buildings do. So you get your income based on what your buildings give you, not 5 plus like you do on income, just the benefit of whatever you get here. Then you're also going to score victory points equal to the values that are on your board. So since I put the pottery studio out there, that's going to score me 2 points at the end of the era. Then you're going to score your civic buildings. Civic buildings do a number of different things. For example, this one scores you 2 points for every civic building that it's next to. And that could be next to mine, next to somebody else's. So let's say that they put a civic building over here, red did. Then at the end of the age, I would get 4 points just for that one building because it's next to 2 civic buildings. I'm sorry, that was incorrect. These are commercial buildings, not civic buildings. So this is every civic building. So let's say that I get this there, and then you know, this is not the right thing, but somebody else puts it here. That's going to get me 2 points because it's next to a civic building. Get it? I'm sorry, misspoke there. My apologies. Don't hurt me, Bree. I know you're not going to. Let's see, that goes there. So that's what civic buildings do. All of those things score during this section, and then residential buildings will score. Residential buildings are pretty interesting because they're going to give you population down here, and population scoring is one of the coolest things about the game. Let's just say during the course of the first era, I was able to get, 10 is a little much. Let's say I was able to get 8 population, and blue was able to get 6 population, and red was able to get 5. And the way you get population is by placing, for example, let's say that instead of this guy, I put this guy out here instead, and this gave me 2 population, so I would actually move it to 2, and then I build something else, and it gives me some more. So at the end of the era, though, I got 8, and so what's going to happen here is that whoever has the most is going to get a population bonus score right here. So I'll score however many points I had in population. So I get 8 points, plus I had the most, so I would get 4. I would score actually 12 points for my population bonus. Then the person who is in second place gets the amount of an amount of points equal to the person in front of them's population. So blue would actually score 8 points. And then red gets the amount that's in front of them, and red would get 6 points from population. So as long as you're on the board with population, you're going to get a number of points equal to the person who is ahead of you. But the person who's in front gets that end of the era bonus for population. All right? So that's a pretty cool thing. I really enjoyed that mechanism because it's something that's pretty strong to go after, but I've also found that it's not needful for you to go after population to do well in the game. But we'll talk about that later. Now, let's see here. Let's just take a break and let's go back to, let's see here. All right, so there are some questions coming in. Foundations of Metropolis will there be a Kickstarter? No, Foundations will go direct to retail. Thank you for answering that, Bree. I was pretty sure of that, but I wanted to make sure. So thank you for that. Steph is here. Matthew Vincent is here. I like the Rome theme better. Understood. I do too, but it's one of those things where if you have, I should move this for the, that probably looked bad on the screen. I'm sorry. But let's see here. Let's go back to this. Let's see. Metropolis will be much less damaging to the wallet, Ed says. Well, that's probably true. Steph is here. Hello, good to see you. Don't know, and thank you too for being here, Ed. We have some copies available on our website now, U.S. and soon non-U.S. Very limited quantities, though. All right. Cool. Copies of Foundations of Rome. Well, there you have it. Mel is here. Melanie, hello. Good to see you. Everyone played this one last weekend. Not one I own. Too hard on the pocketbook and the shelf real estate. Well, I would dare say, and this is, again, a little bit of spoilers, but I would dare say that the shelf real estate is worth it for this one. But anyway, getting back down to the table, I did remove the eyesore of the box over here because all those minis, dude. Anyway, so that's how population scoring works, and it always happens at the end of an era, once all of these cards are gone, and once the last deed is purchased. All right, so it's not when this deck is gone, it's when all of the deeds from that first deck have been purchased. That's when the era scores. So all of the deeds will be purchased during the course of the game, but when and by whom is one of the things that you have to kind of wait on to see what happens. Generally speaking, Era 2, once all those cards are gone, they're going to score the same things. You're going to get money and victory points for your commercial buildings. You're going to get your victory points from your civic buildings, and then you're also going to score residential buildings as well. The population bonus for Era 2, however, is 7 points, not just 4, and then the population bonus for Era 3 is 10 points. But there's a little bit extra in the end of Era 3. At the end of Era 3, every plot that has not been developed will score you 1 point at the end of the game. So if you're not able to build a building, or you choose not to, then these empty plots will score you points at the end of the game. Commercial buildings score you victory points and money, and then they will also gain victory points for the values revealed on their player board. Oh, I can't believe I screwed that up. I'm sorry. So commercial buildings will score you victory points for the money that they've given you during the game. For example, this guy, if he's out on the board, he'll score you 3 victory points plus the victory points that are shown on the board here. So he would actually score you 8 points at the end of Era 3, whereas at the end of Era 1 and or the end of Era 2, he's giving you 3 money and scoring you 5 points. So there's that. Then your civic buildings will score as they have been throughout the course of Eras 1 and 2, and then residential buildings will score in the same way that I've already showed you before, with the person who is in the lead scoring however many population they have in victory points plus the bonus. And then at the end of all of that tabulation, whoever has the highest victory point total is the winner. And that's the base game. All right, that's how everything works in the base game. I explained all of the different turns that you could do. These are pretty cool as well, because these player aids make everything very simple for you. These are double-sided, so I do have 2 of them out here so that I just don't have to flip them over, but you get the idea. All right, so that is how you play Foundations of Rome in a nutshell. And as you're going through and doing all of these different things, you'll see that, for example, blue got really, kind of, let me just go ahead and do this because I want to. Let's just say that that didn't happen, and I did go with, I did buy B4. So that's what I bought, and then I also bought B3. Yeah, I started with B4 and I had B3. So now, that was my first turn buying B3. Now, we go through, and red sees that E4 is right out there, and it's only $2, so he's going to spend $2 and purchase E4. That allows him to put his out here like this. Then comes to blue's turn, and blue already has a pretty monster building right here. Now, the thing is that whenever you build buildings, you have to either take up an empty slot, or you have to upgrade a building that you previously put down. So if you put a large building from the very beginning of the board, it might be hard to upgrade it. So maybe she doesn't want to do that. Maybe she wants to put the big one out there. Who knows? I have no idea. But let's just say that she wanted to put this big old 4 right here. It fits right in there just like that. And she will immediately go up to 4 population. That's a strong move. Maybe she'll be able to upgrade that to well, she won't be able to do it here, but you know. Anyway, these go back here. That's one of those things where you could maybe do it, you can maybe not do it. Depends on what you think is best in that general time. So she decides to go ahead and put that up there and gets her 4 population just like that. Comes back to me, and I do not have all this money. So it would now be my turn to do something. And maybe since now she's put that population building out there, maybe I want to build one of those buildings that lets me get points from being next to a building with population. So maybe I'll build my resplendent library right here. That resplendent library over the course of the game is going to give me 1 point for every population. So right now it's scoring 4 points because of blue's building. I could put other buildings around it that are going to score more. Just depends on how things go. That's my turn. Comes back to, oh, we forgot to do this earlier when they cycled, when red bought their deed. G1, where is G1? G1 is way up here. Ooh, I might like that, but, oh, I can afford it, but maybe blue's gonna want it. No, red, let's see, H5 is right here. Ooh, I want H5 too, but maybe red will want it. I don't know. They can afford it. They can afford 4. What about A1? It's way up here. That is up here in the middle of nowhere. Maybe they want to do something like that, but that's pretty expensive. I think H5 is probably more what they're looking for. So he's going to buy 3 and take H5 just like this. And he takes one of his things and puts it right there, because he could connect down here with that one, or he could connect here with this one. So he just needs G5 or H6. And neither of those are out there right now. And that's another cool thing about the game, is that tension builds. You don't know when these deeds are going to come out. It could not come out until the 3rd round, but you don't know. All right, comes back to blue. Blue, let's see, A1, maybe. G1, not so much. F4, where's F4? Let's see, F4 is right there in the middle. Ooh, that would be a great split between these two. I think that's definitely what blue is going to want to do. So she'll pay the $4 and take F4 and break that little possibility up. All right, so that one comes in, and another one comes out over here, G5. And yes, before it goes away, I'm going to buy G1 because I must. All right, so that one's going to go right there. And then this one will slide down. And that hopefully gives you an idea of just how simple this game is, and how easy it is to play. But that just gives you an idea. All right? Hopefully I didn't make too many horrible mistakes. Let's see here. When will it come to retail? That would be a game for Miss Bree. It says there's a bit of a tease, although we don't plan to run another Kickstarter for Foundations of Rome. We do have another game in this series in the works. Wow. That one will be a Kickstarter at some point. Love the trays. Are those in Metropolis also? More info coming, maybe not super soon, but definitely coming. Yes, Metropolis has organizer trays too. It was super important to us to carry over since it makes setup and play super fast. That's very cool information, Bree. Thank you for sharing that. I certainly appreciate that. That is super cool. And the reason I say that, and I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of a close-up view for the trays here real quick, because the trays are a very cool aspect of the game. So as I'm looking at this tray here, as I was talking about it earlier, when you remove a piece from the tray, it has how many points it's going to be worth, and it's going to have how many silver coins it gives you during income or at the end of an era. So all of your information is right here on this board. So as you can see, as I take other things off, it has all that information on there for you. And that's one of the coolest things about this tray. So the news that these trays will be carried over to Foundations of Metropolis, that's a really cool thing. Now, these things over here are only used in a module of the game. I believe it's the Monuments module. So these guys up here don't use, but these bigger ones back here are your deeds organizers, your deed markers, so you will be using them. So everything on these boards tell you exactly what they do. So this gives you 3 points for every civic building that it's next to. This one will give you three coins during incomes, and it also gives you 5 points during the end. This one gives you 6 population, and you don't have to hunt for all of your buildings on the board. You can just look on your player board to double check to see how much population you have at any point in time. So again, this is just a spectacularly designed game from the hip on up, because everything about it is just really cool. And each player, as you can see here, has their own set, and it's really cool. And again, I don't want to show off too much of some of this stuff. Like, for example, you might not have purchased the metal coins, but that's pretty cool. The card stock is not bad at all. It's what you would normally expect from a board game like this. So it's just all, you know, it's kind of hard sometimes to just kind of take in everything that's cool about this game. Another thing that I wanted to point out is that these things right here are, oops, there we go. These things were an add-on that JT purchased. The regular version of the game, the Kickstarter edition, comes with little cubes that still fit within these things, but they don't have the ability to stack like that right there. So you see how these kind of just help it stack and stay in place and that kind of thing. These were an upgrade that JT purchased, so I do want to point that out as well. But you get the idea, right? Super cool. Dual layered boards all over the place, which are awesome as well. So it's just one of those things where it's just super cool. And I really, really enjoy the game. All right. So let's see here. What have we got? Organizer trays, we already talked about that. Foundations of London. I have a picture of the Metropolis trays right here. They look really good. Thank you for sharing that, Bree. I appreciate that. I like the scoring under the buildings. Yes, that's one of the coolest things. It's one of the things that is like super user-friendly about the game. So I think that's really cool. Are those Legos? No, they are not. No, they're not Legos. They are just, they're the same concept as Legos, but they don't actually snap together or anything like that. Makes it easy to count up population as well. So Metropolis is a city versus Rome. Yes, more of a modern setting. Gameplay is the same though. I think I will like that even more. The game is so well designed to make gameplay so smooth. That is absolutely correct. Karen says she's very excited. Thank you, Bree. We'll be on the lookout. That is amazing. Very good, very good. We buy all of our games from our game store to support them. That's very cool. Play Deliverance. Hey, is that Lowen? Is that Mr. Andrew? Hello, Andrew. Good to see you. Do you have a Discord where I could share some pics? Unfortunately, Bree, no, I don't have Discord. I haven't taken that plunge yet. I apologize. If you want, and again, this might be a more of a incremental process than you would want to enter into, but if you want to send them to me, I can post them on my Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and that'll get it disseminated that way. But that's up to you, Bree. I'll leave it to you to make that decision. It's me lurking. That's funny. Very good. Thank you for being here, Andrew. I appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about final thoughts. If you didn't already get the vibe that I was kind of putting out there, we absolutely love this game. And I say we, I'm talking for me, I'm talking for Jesse, I'm talking for everybody that we know that has played it. This is an amazingly fun game. And you might be thinking, you might be tempted to think, it seems like the components are super overwrought for such a simple game. And you know, I'm not going to disagree with you, but that's one of the things that I think is really cool about the game. I don't think you have to have an incredibly convoluted, difficult game to play in order to have nice components and nice miniature buildings and all of that kind of stuff. I don't think you have to do that. I think it's kind of unfortunate if that's the only kinds of games that get the really nice production and the really nice minis and the really nice stuff, because frankly, unless you're playing that game as a lifestyle game, it's not going to hit the table very much because it's too hard to play. But think about this now. If I put the amount of production quality into the game that this game has received, and it's a simple game to play, how much more light of day is it going to see? Incrementally more, I would imagine. Because that's what, this was last month, this was Jessie's most played game. She played this game, I think 4 or 5 times last month. Let that sink in for a little bit. All right? Now, you might be saying, well, yeah, I know people that play TI 4 or 5 times a month. And you know what? They probably aren't doing much else. She played this game 5 times out of 37 different plays. So out of her 37 games played, this was, this out of 37 games that she played last month, she played this one 5 times. Think about that for a minute, okay? That's a reason why the overwrought production is such a really cool thing, because you get to experience the overwrought production much, much more. And it just allows you to appreciate it that much more. So I get that it's a hefty price tag. I absolutely get that. From a consumer's point of view, it's a heavy hit to your pocketbook. I totally understand that. And you know what? I think Arcane Wonders understands that too. That's why they're making Foundations of Metropolis. That's not going to be the heavy hit, but you're going to experience the gameplay that this game has to offer you. Because frankly, as I said earlier, it's the journey. It's not the end point. It's not the destination in this particular circumstance. Yeah, you're scoring points. Yeah, you want to do good. Yeah, you want to win. But it's not all about that. It's about seeing it play out over the course of the game. That's really fun for me. So there you have that. I might as well give my rating, but let's hold off. Let's at least try to exhibit some restraint, okay? Pros and cons. Pros and cons. Let's see here. Santorini is easy to play. I just want to talk about some of these things that are being talked about. Well, Andrew says, Foundations for Rome is so overproduced that it's amazing. Glad to hear you loved it because I'm on the fence. Well, if you can, okay, caveats. Capital I, capital F. If you can afford it, capital I, capital F. If it's part of your budget, capital I, capital F. If you decide, if you think that you're going to like it, don't be on the fence about this. That's the long and the short of it. Because I cannot fathom being disappointed in this purchase. I cannot. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think JT's dissatisfied at all. No, I know he's not. I don't have to say I don't think. I know he's not dissatisfied. He's probably wondering when I'm going to give this back to him. He's dissatisfied. He's dissatisfied in me not giving his game back to him. That's what he's dissatisfied in. But anyway, I can't tell you how to spend your money. And I'm definitely not going to tell you to spend your money on this over something else. You have to make that determination. However, I can say that if you were already thinking about pulling the trigger, just pull it. You won't be disappointed. And if you are, I'll take your copy off of your hands. Dude, totally hijacking this with news. But did you hear Deliverance was nominated? Yes, I did. Very good. Congratulations, buddy. Foundations of Rome is so, yeah, okay. This game is in my top 100. It will be this year. I will say that. It wasn't last year because I hadn't played it yet, but it will be this year for mine. That would be cool if he's up to it. We'll let you know that. Ed McLean, this is an easy big box to get to the table. Aren't many of those. Exactly. Les Chung is here. Hey, Les, good to see you, buddy. He says he loves Foundations of Rome. Awesome. I agree, Sam. More people will get the game if it is easier to play for a game night or just a couple friends. Well, I'll tell you this. The reason we borrowed JT's copy, first of all, we borrowed it twice now. The first time we just borrowed it because we wanted to play it more. The second time we borrowed it is because this was at a board gaming retreat that we went to at Comic-Con, and our son Dante wanted to learn how to play it, and every time we had the chance to teach him how to play, it was being played by somebody else. And that happened 3 or 4 times over the course of the weekend, where he wanted to learn. We were in the middle of a game. At the end of that game, somebody was playing it. Okay, we'll try again later. Somebody's playing it. Okay, we'll try again. Somebody's playing it. It was being played so much. And I'm like, dude, that is called bang for your buck. That is called bang for your buck. Whomever purchased the copy that was at Camas Meadows, I know has gotten their money's worth. From whatever standard that you want to use, they've gotten their money's worth out of the game. And I don't even know how many times they've played it. How many times it was played over the weekend made up for how much money they paid for the game. Period. It's just one of those things. So compare that to another overwrought production game that you purchased that is super hard to play, and you get it to the table once a quarter. There's no comparison. There just isn't. All right, so pros and cons. First of all, pros. I'm just going to say it now because good night. I've already said it a million times over. Production quality is off the freaking charts. If you can pick up, and again, I'm not telling you how to spend your money, but if it's already providing you an itch, you already have some of that expendable cash, enough to cover the bill for this, dude, or dudette, whomever you might be, the production quality is off the charts. From the double-layered boards for tracking your points and your population to the double layer boards inside of your player mats to the miniatures. These are sun-dropped miniatures, but the other ones that are not sun-dropped, they're just a little bit more pristine looking. And frankly, if you can't get a hold of the sun drop, putting a wash on these miniatures is not hard at all. At all. Not difficult at all. Painting them, okay, I can see where that might be a little bit intimidating, but putting a wash on these miniatures will not be hard. Oh, I wish I could show you how easy it would be, but you'll just have to take my word for it. So production quality off the charts. Even just the regular components like the cards and the cardboard tokens that come in the game and all that kind of stuff that some of these metal things replace, they're all good quality. Good quality. Not chintzy at all. So that's my first pro of the game. My second pro of the game, and we've already really talked about it, it's such a simple game. This is one of the most wildly produced gateway games that I've ever experienced. And this is a gateway game. Now, the thing about it is that it might look intimidating. Jessie, the first time she saw it, oh, there's so many different buildings, there's so many different things out here. But as soon as we taught her how to play the game, she was like, boom, I'm on board. I'm on board. And this, there's only 3 things that you can do on your turn. Only 3 things that you can do. And they're not difficult to understand. Buy a card, build a building, or get some money. That's it. That's all you can do. Now, I've harped on that a lot, and that's really kind of my pro here, is that it's such a great and interesting gateway game. But my third pro is going to be all the other stuff that you get. I mean, good night. You have, here in the back of the book, all right, so there you go. That's your rule book. And we're talking huge print, lots of pictures, all that kind of stuff. All right. So this is your rule book for the game. This is how you play the game. The rest of the book here is expansions, modules. All right. So you have the Monuments expansion. I haven't showed you the Monuments yet, but this is kind of like if you took World Wonders and threw it into this, just a little bit of part of it, because you can buy the Monuments expansion. You basically use 3 monuments, and I'll show them to you in a minute because I'm not going to not do that. And those are the 3 that you can build throughout the course of the game. But that's a cool thing. So monument buildings. There are other content. There are other modules. There's a trading and stealing module. You can openly trade with people if you want to use the trading module, or you can steal. You can actually forcibly take deeds from your other players. So do you want some not so friendly interaction? There you have it. Use the stealing module. You have the objectives module where you can do have hidden objectives that you're trying to accomplish that will score you more points at the end of the game. There is an invocations module, the will of the council, which is a cooperative mode. Did I mention that this is a great gateway game? Cooperative games are great for gateway experiences. Now, so super cool. There is an architect's codex in here. There is a storage guide so that you can put all your miniatures back in the right position. And then there's also art and lore pages at the end of the book. All of these different things. So much. If the base game isn't enough for you, the base game comes with enough stuff to add to the gameplay and switch things up a little bit. A little tidbits of, little sprinklings of complexity here and there that will raise the complexity factor of the game for you if you find yourself possibly getting bored with the base game, which frankly, I don't see that that being the case for me. We've played it a lot already, and we're not bored of it. There's also JT got the Roads of Fortune expansion, which allow you to play with 5 players, which, wow. So the only thing that I think he doesn't have is the Garden of Ceres expansion, which is the solo mode. That's the only thing I think he didn't get, but I could be wrong. Maybe I just can't find it. I don't know, but that's my third pro for the game. There's a lot of things, a lot of ways for you to build up the complexity of the game from a very foundational experience, or you can just kind of leave that stuff out and play with this. But I don't think you will. I don't think you'll leave that stuff out. I think the more you get experienced with the game, you're just going to want to naturally kind of grow into those other spots, those other things. So let me show you the monuments real quick, because these are pretty stinking cool. And I'll get my my phone camera back out for this because I don't want to make too much of a mess. But there are some really cool things in here. Let me get this back out and come over here. Boom. And again, these are all sun dropped, but you can see the level of detail on these buildings is freaking amazing. All of the different temples, the Colosseum, gardens. I mean, it is freaking cool. They even have this little thing here, and this was a little interesting, but check that out. This is called the Tower of Wonder, and it's a thank you to those folks over at the Dice Tower, because that's the Dice Tower Essentials logo, basically. You know, a dragon next to a dice tower. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing. But I mean, I'll try to show different angles here so that you guys can see. But it is just amazing. The quality is off the charts. So that's kind of part of my third pro of expandability within the game. So you get it, right? Fourth pro. I love the Dutch auction. I really do. It makes it tense because you see something way down there that costs 10 and you really, really want to buy it, but you don't have the money for it right now. And you could take an income action, but if I take an income action, somebody else might do something else and that'll mess up my plans. I really like the tension that the Dutch auction brings into it, because you can see that it's there and it's available, and it just depends on how much money you want to spend for it. I really did enjoy the Dutch auction aspect of the game. I also liked the fact, and just as we're talking about buying the deeds, I also liked the fact that you started with some deeds in your pocket that gave you things to build on at the very beginning of the game. I like that. You know, something could be said to starting from scratch, but I'm glad that this game didn't do that. I'm glad that it gave you kind of some property that you can begin to build with at the very beginning of the game, rather than having to build up into it. I think a reason they didn't do that is because it is a fast game. It's a fast-paced game. It's as fast as the players want it to be, or don't want it to be, depending on who you are, because it's dependent upon how fast those deeds are bought up. So you might experience something like the Era 1 goes really fast. Era 2 slows down because people are trying to build up their buildings a little bit better. And then Era 3 goes real fast as well, because people are buying up those extra things so that they can make sure that they can upgrade the buildings that they bought in Era 2. There's a lot of coolness there, but I really liked that Dutch auction. I really did think that was a cool thing where you see everything out there. You know how much you have to pay for it, but you're trying to be as efficient as possible. And sometimes that enters into some painful spots, because somebody purchases that deed right before you are about to do it on yours. And it's like, oh, I waited too long. So yeah, you waited too long. It's your fault, pal. That's just the way it is. But I really enjoyed the Dutch auction. It was amazing. My fourth pro for the game is that the artwork is really cool. You look at the artwork around the side of the board. It's amazing. On the back of the cards, it's nice as well. It's very thematic. The artwork throughout the rule book even is really, really nice. I mean, if I can just show off the rule book a little bit, this person here, Aurelia, is taking you through and teaching you every aspect of the game. And as you can see, the graphic design and the artistic layout of this book is just really nice. It's really aesthetically pleasing, and that makes reading it a lot easier. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not as far in the minority as I think I am, but games that are produced like this are so much more fun to play, even if they're harder, because it's so nice to just look at everything. I don't know. All the modular expansions add so much variability and are not difficult to plug in. Yes, and they're also very clear in the rule books when you should and when you should not use them. So follow the rule books examples there. David Brownlee is here. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Easy to mix and match for sure. Leslie Chung, yes, absolutely. Ed says, I don't own the Roads of Fortune expansion. Would you say this is a must-have expansion? We love the game, but I'm hesitant to get it. Well, it depends. Do you have, first of all, what it does? Let's see. It gives you 8 road boards, 10 milestone markers, 11 population tokens, 10 favor tokens, 19 alternate monument cards, 5 monument reference cards, 4 series road cards, road boards, and 1 monument tray sticker sheet, which you'll have to have. But I wasn't able to. I never played it with 5 players, so I don't know how much this is necessary. So I'll leave that to you. You'll have to do your own research on that. I'm sorry that I can't provide an answer for you, but expansions are usually boil down to what you're wanting out of the experience. And if that expansion will add to what you're wanting, then yes, it's something that you will want to purchase. If it isn't, I don't know. I can't tell you. Let me give you an example. Champions of Midgard and the Valhalla and the Dark Mountains expansions. I usually will say that those are indispensable. If you buy the base game, you should buy the expansions as well, if you're able to. Because they kind of complete the game for you. Now, maybe Roads of Fortune will complete the game for you. Maybe it won't. Maybe you won't ever find yourself needing to play with 5 players. Maybe you will find yourself needing to do any of those other things. It's really up to you. I don't know that it's necessary, and I have a hard time unless I'm very sure that it is. I have a very hard time ever saying without the shadow of a doubt that that an expansion is absolutely necessary. So I don't want to just brush aside your question, but at the same time, I don't think that I have enough experience with the expansion to tell you one way or the other. Sorry, I'm late, Luke says. Love the module additions. Karen says, sorry, I'm late. I had the chance to play this at Comic-Con. Luke, good game with great pieces. Absolutely. Les says that he would say yes, Aaron. 4 thin boards are added to each side. You get more than 4 boards in the expansion, so it will change every play. During the end of an era, most edge presence gets a bonus for each side. But it's perfectly fine regardless of what expansions you use or not use. And a partridge in a pear tree. That's funny. All right. Okay. Those are my pros. Cons. This is the only con. The fact that it's in such an obnoxiously large box. I really do laugh when I see people at conventions carrying these. Sometimes I see them carrying 2 on one side and 2 on the other, like this. It makes me crack up. But that's the only con that I have with this game. I don't have any other plausible cons that I could even... I honestly, it is such a fun game. It is such a simple design, and the production quality is off the charts. I don't think I will ever not want to play this game if somebody wants to play it. I understand that there are sometimes time constraints. Sometimes you can't because you're doing something. I get all of that. But if my schedule is free and somebody wants to play Foundations of Rome, I will probably, more than likely, 99% sure say yes, because it's just that fun and it's just that satisfying of an experience. It's so fun to build up your plots and build up your buildings and make them larger and get this to fire off, and there's so many different things that are cool about this game that I can't see myself, all things being considered, saying no to play this game. And I think that's probably the highest praise that I could ever give it. Because there's a lot of games that I really enjoy playing that I'll be like, I'll give a second thought to even some of my most favorite games of all time. I'll give a second thought because, well, I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know if they'll enjoy it. I don't know if I want to set up the game right now. I don't know if I want to teach the game right. None of that. This is all so simple. So the only con, in my opinion, is the size of the freaking box. And it's kind of has to be because it's so well produced. So take that for what it's worth. If you didn't get it already, here's my rating. And literally, this is one of the times I wish I was an alien and I had, a few more arms that had more thumbs so I could give it more thumbs. That's what I would do with Foundations of Rome. This is such a great game. And I'm super jealous that JT has a copy and I don't. But it is what it is. At the very least, JT has a copy that I can borrow at almost any time that I want. So that's a cool thing. And he's only across the river. So this is an amazing game. And if you didn't get that already, I'm saying it now. It's an amazing game. So there you have it. Table presence comes at a cost of shelf presence. You are correct. Top of the K-Lux is for that box. Yes, that is absolutely true. David Brownlee says the other con is you also have to buy the Roman game mat from Game Toppers if you don't already have it. Well, you don't have to, but you can, because let me go back down to the table, and since David brought that up, you see this mat right here? You see this print? Game Toppers has the Foundations of Rome game mat. You can also buy it on Arcane Wonders as well, but they have this playmat available to you. So you can buy a neoprene mat. It's not double-sided, but it is stitched around the inside. Super high quality. I love Game Toppers mats. Since you brought this up, David, I'm going there. I love Game Toppers mats. They are a sponsor of the channel as well. We don't get kickbacks or anything like that for that. We just love their products, which is why we wanted to try to get them as a sponsor for the channel. So yes, you absolutely can do that. You have more Roman-themed games in your library, probably. You can get that Foundations of Rome playmat and use it for your other Roman games too, even if you don't have Foundations of Rome. So there you have that. See, I went a step further, David. So absolutely, that is what we are talking about here as far as that is concerned. Let me go back and see. We are about an hour in, so we're pretty much done as far as that's concerned. 2 thumbs up and I wish I could give it more thumbs, but I only have 2 to give. So there you have it. It's a great game. Thank you, Bree, for being here. I hope I did your product justice, and I hope that Foundations of Metropolis does well for you, because frankly, it's going to be the exact same game. It's just not going to hit your pocketbook as hard. So keep your eyes open for that, everybody. We're going to get on out of here. See you later. Have a great day. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care. Karen, to answer your question, absolutely. Yes.